congregation to a new church.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Isn't this wonderful? Our very own church building, and the roof isn't leaking. After 22 years of meeting in homes, barns, and schoolhouses, we have moved to the next level of our work in God's kingdom. At the same time, we will not forget our Lord's promise that where 2 or 3 people meet together in His name, He will be in the midst of them. As such, we will continue to hold services in homes and barns throughout the district. But our society is growing quickly, with many immigrants swarming here from the old countries, and it's right that we build a dedicated house in the settlement, especially before any other denomination builds one. It wouldn't do to let our Methodist brethren get the upper hand around here, would it? I'm also encouraging our brethren in Waterloo to build churches. And even Malachi Sager wants to build one on his farm over by Pleasant Grove. It's been 6 years in the making, and there have been many trials and tribulations. And I'm not talking about when Enoch hammered his thumb, or when I hit Aaron in the head with a plank. Although I do commend my brothers for refraining from taking the Lord's name in vain. Those of you who have recently arrived in this community may not know that we began gathering lumber at this site in 1828. We were ready to build in the summer of '32, but as you know, that was the exact time of the great cholera epidemic, to which we lost so many beloved members of our community. Everything came to a terrible halt that summer as we tended our sick and buried our dead. We even had to bury strangers who were passing through, sometimes just in a hasty grave along the roadside, which was the best we could manage. Alonzo Bliss, the chairmaker who organized our first Sabbath school with John and Miriam, went out to bury 4 strangers along the stone road between here and Galt, and came back singing a hymn. He took the cholera that night and died. With the local mill shut down and a growing shortage of lumber, we had no choice but to use the lumber for the church to make coffins instead. But by this past summer, we were ready once again to build. I would like to thank all of you for the vital labor and materials that you supplied for this project. And a special thanks to my brother Joseph for the large amount of money he contributed to keep our society out of debt. The Beverly Reformed Christians now find themselves in a new position as property owners. As such, we need new governing positions within our society. Trustees. Would the following men please rise? John Adams, David Main, Henry Cullum, Griffith Lloyd, Nelson Sipes. As our first board of trustees, you must be careful not to betray that trust which is committed to your charge by God and the church. Remember, if you act deceitfully with the least of God's children, the offense is against God, who will one day be his own evidence, judge, and jury of all your actions, words, and thoughts, and will reward you as your work shall be. Therefore, look to the Lord with all your heart and strength, that you may stand in the church of God as bright stars in the firmament. Thank you. Isn't it? It's a fine building, isn't it? We decided to include the luxury of pews with backs in them. But don't become too comfortable in your seats, for you are watchmen on the ramparts of God's kingdom. And woe betide the one who falls asleep at his post.
I was just thinking, well, was speaking there about the changing times and the things that we take for granted, roofs that don't leak, and no cholera epidemics, for example, and plenty of wood to build structures and so on that wasn't that easy in 1834. So thank you.